Some people go to Paris for pastries, to sit at a sun-dappled cafe and watch the world go by, croissant in hand, feeling effortlessly chic. Others escape to Hawaii for sun, sand, and the kind of relaxation that comes with a gentle ocean breeze and a coconut drink in hand. I, for reasons still unclear even to myself, chose the Amazon rainforest, a place where the air is 99% water, the humidity wraps around you like a wet blanket, and everything, from the tiniest ant to the largest mosquito, seems to want to bite you. Why? Maybe I wanted adventure, something raw and untamed, a story to tell at parties. Maybe I wanted to prove something to myself to see if I could survive outside my comfort zone, or maybe, just maybe, I have poor impulse control and a tendency to say yes before thinking things through. The brochure promised natural beauty, lush green canopies, sparkling waterfalls, and wildlife straight out of a nature documentary. It didn't mention the sweat that soaks your clothes within minutes, the relentless bugs, or the creeping sense of regret that settles in as you realize you're now part of the food chain. My plan was simple. Fly to Brazil, take a sketchy boat that looked like it had seen better decades, and live in a hut for 3 days, surrounded by the symphony of the jungle and the constant threat of rain. My friends called it brave, or at least, that's what they said to my face. My family called it a breakdown. I packed khaki shorts, illegal strength bug spray, and a suitcase full of optimism, hoping for the best. The latter, as it turns out, would not survive the first night. My travel agent Stan sold me the dream with glossy photos of smiling tourists, playful monkeys, and promises of unforgettable memories. He left out the part about the swollen bug bites, the sleepless nights, and the existential dread that comes from hearing mysterious noises in the dark. The Amazon, he said, is a place of wonder, a living, breathing miracle of nature. He was right. If you wonder how many ways you can be uncomfortable, itchy, and slightly terrified all at once. So there I was, at the airport, ready to trade civilization for a symphony of insects, the constant buzz of unseen creatures, and the suspicion that a jaguar was watching me from the shadows. I wanted the real Amazon, not the sanitized, tourist-friendly version with guided walks and air-conditioned buses. I wanted to push my limits to see what I was really made of, even if it meant getting a little lost along the way. In hindsight, I should have pushed the room service button at a 5-star hotel and called it an adventure. But no, I had to be an adventurer, chasing stories and mosquito bites in equal measure. And adventure, I soon learned, is just a series of questionable decisions strung together by bug bites, sweat, and the hope that you'll make it out with a story worth telling. Welcome to the jungle. Our boat looked like it had survived pirate attacks, or maybe a few decades of being battered by the Amazon's wild moods. The paint was peeling, the wood creaked with every wave, and the engine coughed like it had a secret to tell. The captain grunted and pointed. The river looked like flowing coffee, thick and swirling, carrying secrets and stories from deep in the jungle. I waved at a log, feeling a little silly but also strangely hopeful for a friendly response. The log glared back. It was a caiman. I stopped waving, suddenly aware that here, even the logs have teeth. Stepping off the boat was like entering a steam room that had been running for a century. My glasses fogged, my shirt stuck, and the air wrapped around me like a hot, wet blanket. My hair frizzed into a new species, instantly rebelling against any attempt at order. The air was thick, heavy, and smelled of damp earth and something probably poisonous. Every breath felt like inhaling a rainforest smoothie. Our lodge, wooden huts on stilts, connected by rickety boardwalks that wobbled with every step, as if daring you to fall into the undergrowth below. Rustic charm, the brochure said. I was beginning to suspect rustic was code for bring your own comfort. Translation: walls with gaps big enough for a capybara, or anything else that wanted to visit in the night. My room had a bed, which looked inviting until you noticed the rest. A mosquito net with holes, more of a suggestion than a barrier, and a light bulb that summoned every insect in Brazil, turning my room into a buzzing nightclub for bugs. No air conditioning, just the occasional breeze, like being breathed on by a giant dog who'd just run a marathon. I dropped my bag. It landed with a damp thud, instantly absorbing the jungle's moisture. I was sweating from places I didn't know existed, discovering new levels of stickiness with every passing minute. A gecko watched me with pity, as if to say, "You're not gonna last long here, are you?" I looked out at the endless green, the jungle stretching forever, alive with sounds and secrets. This was it. 3 days. Just me, the jungle, and 1,000,000% humidity. I tried to feel awe, I just felt sticky, as if the air itself was trying to glue me in place. This wasn't an adventure, it was a hostile takeover by humidity, and I was already negotiating my surrender. Our first activity, a gentle hike. Our guide, Ricardo, wore flip-flops and carried a machete. He pointed out plants, one cures everything, the next kills you in 30 seconds. Noted. He moved like a panther. I moved like a refrigerator falling downstairs. Every vine tripped me, every branch smacked me. My khaki shorts became modern art. The air buzzed with insects drilling into my brain. Ricardo pointed, poison dart frog, beautiful, do not touch. I resolved to touch nothing, ever. Then came the rain, a biblical deluge that turned the trail into a river of mud. We huddled under a giant leaf with a spider the size of my hand. The spider seemed more at home than I did. When the rain stopped, we were soaked, muddy, and defeated. The gentle hike felt like boot camp hazing. Monkeys swung overhead, chattering. I was sure they were laughing at me. One monkey looked me in the eye. "You do not belong here, pale, clumsy man." He was right, I belong somewhere with snacks and air conditioning. As dusk settled over the Amazon, the jungle's entire soundtrack shifted in an instant, like someone had flipped a switch on the world's most chaotic orchestra. The familiar calls of birds and monkeys faded, replaced by a relentless chorus of clicks, chirps, and croaks, each one sounding like it was plotting my demise. But the true stars of the night were the mosquitoes. Not the kind you swat away at a backyard barbecue. These were Amazonian super mosquitoes bred for battle. My mosquito net, which I'd hoped would be my sanctuary, was just a fun obstacle course for them. They seemed to treat it as a challenge, not a barrier. Sleep became a series of paranoid naps, each one cut short by the high-pitched whine of mosquitoes or the mysterious creaks and groans of the hut settling in the humid night. Every sound outside was a jaguar, or at least my imagination insisted it was. Every thud or rustle was a snake, slithering just out of sight, waiting for the perfect moment. One night a sudden thunderous thump on the roof froze me in absolute terror. My heart pounded as I imagined claws and fangs. It turned out to be a mango. I was now officially afraid of fruit. Even the produce here seemed out to get me. The Amazon was breaking me down, one piece of produce at a time, as if the jungle itself was testing my sanity. I finally drifted off, only to be jolted awake by a guttural roar that shook the entire hut. The sound was so deep, so primal, it felt like the jungle itself was alive and angry. This was it. The jaguar had arrived. I braced myself for doom, but as morning light crept in, Ricardo, my guide, just laughed. "Howler monkey," he said. "They sound enormous, but they're actually small. It's all bark, no bite." They just love to scream at sunrise as if announcing their presence to the entire rainforest. I'd spent the night being terrorized by a tiny, angry monkey with a megaphone for a throat. In the Amazon, even the fruit and monkeys seemed to conspire against you. Each night a new test of nerves. I was losing the psychological war, my mind fraying at the edges with every new sound and shadow. I missed my bed. I missed walls. I missed silence, especially silence. The jungle never lets you forget you're a guest, and it never, ever lets you rest. Day 2, piranha fishing. Ricardo handed me a stick, a hook, and a chunk of beef. "Just don't fall in," he said. I dangled my bait. The piranhas ignored me. Even the fish thought I was a joke. After my fishing failure, Ricardo decided to teach me jungle navigation. He explained how to read the sun and trees. It made sense, until he told me to lead us back to the lodge. I marched confidently into the green. 10 minutes later, Ricardo tapped my shoulder. "The lodge is the other way." I'd managed to get us lost within sight of our starting point. The jungle is a maze designed by a sadist. Every tree looks the same. Defeated, I let Ricardo lead. He pointed out army ants. "Don't step on them. They bite." Everything in the Amazon is either poisonous or bitey. We finally stumbled back to the lodge. I felt relief, and deserved a medal for surviving 15 minutes lost, or at least a cold drink. The jungle had humbled me again. My internal compass was a disaster. I was not an explorer, I was a sweaty lost tourist. Mealtime in the Amazon was a daily mystery. Breakfast, unknown fruit and yucca bread with the texture of a tire. Lunch, grilled fish, not caught by me, rice, beans and farofa. Ricardo's toasted cassava flour, which tasted like savory sand. I ate it all, pretending it was exotic seasoning. My taste buds were not fooled. Dinner was the wild card, a stew with jungle meat. I didn't ask questions. Everything tastes like chicken when you're hungry enough. The most challenging thing was a purple, fizzy drink served in a gourd. It was sour, sweet, earthy, and weird. My digestive system was in shock. I hoped my stomach would forgive me. Every meal was a leap of faith. I learned not to ask, just eat. The food was honest, if confusing. I survived on curiosity and hunger and a lot of rice. My stomach may never recover. On our last day, we visited a nearby village. The people were warm and welcoming, their kids giggled at my pale skin. I tried to communicate with bad Spanish and hand gestures. I think I asked for the bathroom and got a banana. The real challenge was Chico, the lodge's pet capuchin monkey, a master thief with a love for shiny things. I left my sunglasses unattended. Chico stole them, wore them, and looked cooler than I ever had. I spent 20 minutes bribing him with fruit. Later I met a sloth, slow, gentle, and as I learned, surprisingly quick when relieving itself. I dodged falling sloth poop like a pro. My final humiliation, a parrot that screeched like a fire alarm, then mimicked my sneeze. Even the animals mocked me. The Amazon's locals, human and otherwise, were unforgettable. I was the punchline to their jokes. I left with stories and a bruised ego. Chico kept the sunglasses, he earned them. I was just a guest in their world. Our last day, a sunrise canoe trip. We paddled out in the dark, aching and half awake. The sky turned orange and pink, breathtaking for 7 minutes. Then I noticed the canoe was leaking. Ricardo bailed water with a cup. I imagined headlines about my watery demise. We made it back, but my zen was gone. The Amazon always reminds you who's boss. Packing was a joy. Everything was damp, muddy, and possibly alive. I found a frog in my boot. I evicted him politely. There were no clean clothes, just varying degrees of jungle. My bag was heavier, full of moisture and shattered expectations. The boat ride back felt like escape. I looked back at the wall of green, immense, powerful, and utterly indifferent. The Amazon had chewed me up and spat me out. I came for adventure, I found it, just not the kind I expected. Would I do it again? No, I learned I'm not an explorer. I like walls, plumbing, and not being bitten in my sleep. Bug spray is just seasoning for Amazonian mosquitoes. If a monkey steals your sunglasses, let him keep them. He's earned it. The Amazon is beautiful and terrifying, teeming with life and stories I'll never forget. My advice? Watch a nature documentary in air conditioning with snacks you can identify. You'll see the beauty without the mud, sweat, or existential dread. The Amazon is magnificent from a distance. I'm happy to admire it through a screen, humidity set to 0. And that's the adventure I recommend.